Welcome back. After doing a series of operational videos, I actually had to go back and look at my last update to see where I had left off so that I knew what to cover this time around. And where we had left off was I had done I think I had the studs up for the additional bench work out to Falls Creek from Du Bois. So I've gotten some more progress there. And I've kind of reversed my strategy. I used to try and just get the track in so trains would run right away. And in this narrow section here that we had talked about last time, which is really the duck under, I elected to do the foam and the joint compound first. You can see, there's still some joint compound along the edge of the cork, but I was able to just wipe it so it's smooth, so it's very easy to deal with. Once you put the track in, I always somehow get joint compound in between the ties, and it's a real nuisance to get out. So in this case, I delayed putting the track in until I had at least had the base scenery done, so the bulk of the joint compound was done. So as I've gotten further on the layout, I've started to change the sequence of operations for some of the construction methodologies, just because I found it works a little easier. And now that I've got enough railroad, I'm not so hell-bent on getting trains running all the time. So this is the area that we talked about. I had originally 6 inches wide. I ended up making it a little wider so that I could get a nice, appropriate fill slope. And I like having areas of fill. I don't have too many, and many of us don't have many areas of fill, because I think it really, that sets the cars up real nicely, and trains look really nice running along fill. And I made this wider, as I said, and I did it specifically still to make a very smooth bottom. There's no nails or anything, so it's nice and easy to slip underneath that to get back to the staging yards. I also ended up doing the creek area. Sorry, I can't get much further back because I'm backed up against the helix, but the same thing goes. The other creek I already had the culvert in place and the track over top, and I was trying to work underneath that. So this time I went and did the creek first, poured it first, and then set the bridge beams. I actually did, you can see the cross members. I just fabricated these beams out of some styrene parts and weathered them up, set them on some layered masonite to create a shelf on the abutment. I have some additional scenery that go in there, but I just did at least the base scenery and some of the stuff that was deeper in there so I could, again, get to it before putting the track and bridge beams over that. And we had talked previously also that this 18-inch area, which is still 18 inches, was going to be largely the Burke Parsons Boley plant, which is a creosote plant, still there in Falls Creek. It's got a different name now, but in '74 I think it was Burke Parsons Boley, so that's what I'm going with. Researching the area and kind of looking at my operations, I originally had said I might not have to compress the creosote plant very much. Well, famous last words of a model railroader, I won't have to compress. Yeah, great idea. So what happened is I actually decided to put a small version of Du Bois yard in here. So it's really going to be just a 3-track yard, one of which is going to be dedicated to interchanging between I'm happy I did that, but the consequence of that is that the creosote plant now, kind of from where the hammer is laying across this cut area, and there is a creek that runs through the yard where they dry the timbers, and then these other tools here. So I'm gonna have to try and figure out, I might have to compress it a little bit more than I thought, but oh well, we'll figure that out. Same token, here's a good example. Just doing some joint compound work first, and I'll put the track in after that's at least got the base work done and 1 coat of latex paint and a little bit of ground foam. Then I'll put the track on. So that'll be the Penn Central track in the back. That was a double track main. Chassis system had a double track main, but by the time they got to the interchange at Falls Creek by 1974, I think it was down to 1 track in each direction, which is good because I'm going to have to hand lay the crossing, because one side of it is going to be a 23-inch radius curve, the other side will be straight and coming at a slight angle, so it's going to be that'll be an interesting project, but that'll happen some other time. This is also the area where I cut out the 1 stud to allow the chassis main line, which is coming across that duck under section, and it's going to sweep to the right, loop all the way around, dark area of the basement, and then it'll come into the upper staging yard. So the scenic portion of the railroad will end here with this little tail going out for the creosote plant and the Penn Central. The other thing I did in terms of sequence of operations, I added outlets. The blue cable is data cable that I've already gotten set up for UTP panels. I got another drop over here ready to go for another UTP panel, probably right about here. And so again, just try to do all this stuff in advance instead of racing ahead to run trains. I'm trying to take my time a little bit more to do some of the things in the right sequence just to make it easier. So what else have I worked on? Did a lot more of the valance and fascia. Still needs to be painted previously, and so that's all been removed, and now I've got the masonite cut, just still needs to be painted blue. Did a little bit more on the fascia there, a little bit more fascia here. Again, running along the real narrow section you can see in between the helix and the duck under. All the tank cars that I was converting, those are all finished up now, so you can see the white ones are maybe a little bit too bright, but so the shell one is the only one I'm not going to repaint. But got all the other ones done, made some other rolling stock, and I think that's about it. So we're coming along here, but probably the next major project is to do the framing for that loop to get back into the upper staging, and then essentially I'll have all the bench work done for the primary stage of the railroad as I had it planned or envisioned. There is always the possibility in the distant future perhaps to do the Indiana branch that'll go behind the stairs, but that's a whole separate project, and I'm going to try and get the railroad finished, at least the main part of it first, before I even contemplate doing that. So that is about it, I think. So more to follow, but just wanted to give everybody an update. It's been about a month since I had posted anything other than the operational videos, which seemed to be more popular than the update videos, so I guess I might have to do some more operational videos. People seem to enjoy those. So more to follow. Thanks for watching.